Vela Catherine sat alone at her navigation station on the quiet night shift. The large circular room that served as the bridge of the Zalixian scientific vessel Stellar Seeker was dimly lit, with most of the light coming from the glowing displays at each workstation. The main view screen showed the endless void of deep space sprinkled with distant stars. Vela's four-fingered hands moved quickly across her control panel as she monitored the sensor readings. At 22 cycles old, Vela was the youngest navigator in the Zalixian fleet. Her pale blue skin had a slight shimmer under the console lights, and her large, almond-shaped eyes with vertical pupils scanned the data scrolling across her screen. Two small antennae on her forehead twitched occasionally as she concentrated. The Stellar Seeker was on a routine scientific mission, charting an unexplored sector at the edge of Zalixian space. The Zalixian Confederation was the most advanced civilization in the known galaxy, with technology far beyond that of any other species they had encountered. Their ships could travel vast distances through space using quantum fold drives, though, like all known species, they were bound by the universal constant that nothing could move faster than light. Vela yawned and stretched her slender arms above her head. 3 more hours until her shift ended. She took a sip of warm, sorry juice from her cup and continued monitoring the sensors. Suddenly, a small alert flashed on her screen. Vela leaned forward, her antennae straightening in attention. The long-range sensors had detected something unusual, an energy signature unlike anything in the Zalixian database. "That's strange," she whispered to herself. She adjusted the sensor parameters and ran a diagnostic. The readings must be wrong. The alert persisted. According to the data, something was moving towards Zalixian space at speeds that should be impossible. Vela checked and rechecked her instruments, convinced there must be a malfunction. "Computer, run full diagnostic on." "Sensor array," Vela ordered. "Diagnostic complete." "All systems functioning within normal parameters," the ship's computer responded in its flat, emotionless voice. Vela bit her lower lip. If the sensors were working correctly, then something truly extraordinary was happening. She pressed the communication button on her console. "Navigator Catherine to Commander Drelax," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. After a moment, the gruff voice of her superior officer came through. "This better be important, Catherine. I was in the middle of my rest cycle. Sir, I've detected an anomaly on the long-range sensors. Something is approaching our position at speeds that exceed our theoretical limits." There was a pause. "Are you certain it's not a sensor malfunction?" "I've run multiple diagnostics, sir." "The sensors are functioning perfectly." "Very well. Continue monitoring. I'll be there shortly." Within minutes, Commander Drelax entered the bridge. He was a tall, imposing figure with dark blue skin and a permanent scowl on his face. His antennae were long and curved, a sign of his advanced age and status. "Show me what you found," he ordered, standing behind Vela's station. Vela displayed the sensor readings on the main screen. "The object was first detected here, at the edge of our sensor range. Its speed is—" "Well, sir, according to these readings, it's traveling faster than light." Commander Drelax frowned. "That's impossible. The laws of physics don't allow for it." "I know, sir, but the data is clear." "Could it be a natural phenomenon, a sensor echo from a quantum fluctuation?" Vela shook her head. "The movement pattern is too regular, too controlled." "I believe it's a ship." Commander Drelax's eyes widened slightly, the only indication of his surprise. "A ship that can travel faster than light? No species has that technology." "Not even the Zalixians have managed to break that barrier." "The readings are getting stronger, sir. Whatever it is, it's getting closer." The commander pressed the button on Vela's console. "Bridge to all senior staff. Report to your stations immediately." This is not a drill. Within minutes, the bridge was fully staffed. The science officer, communications specialist, and tactical officer all took their positions, the atmosphere tense with anticipation. "The object has slowed down," Vela announced, her eyes fixed on her display. "It's now traveling at sublight speed, but it's definitely on a direct course for our position." Can we get a visual? Commander Drelax asked. The science officer, a middle-aged female named Trellis, worked at her station, attempting to get visual confirmation now. The main view screen flickered and then displayed a magnified image of distant space. At first, there was nothing to see but stars. Then, a small point of light appeared, growing larger as the computer enhanced the image. There it is, Trellis said quietly. The bridge crew stared in silence at the screen. The object was clearly a ship, but unlike any vessel the Xyloxians had ever encountered. It was sleek and streamlined, with a design that seemed both elegant and functional. It was smaller than the Stellar Seeker, perhaps only a quarter of its size. It doesn't match any known configuration in our database, the tactical officer reported. Are they transmitting anything? Commander Drelax asked the communications specialist. Yes, sir. We're receiving transmissions on multiple frequencies. The computer is attempting to decode them now. Vela couldn't take her eyes off the strange ship. Its hull was made of a material that seemed to absorb and reflect light in unusual ways. And the propulsion system. She could see no evidence of the standard drive systems used by all known spacefaring races. I have partial translation, the communications specialist announced. They are broadcasting what appears to be a greeting message on repeat. They identify themselves as humans from a planet called Earth. Humans? Earth? Commander Drelax repeated. Check the stellar database. The science officer checked her console. No record of either, sir. This species is completely unknown to us. And yet they possess technology that surpasses our own, Drelax said, his voice a mixture of awe and concern. A species we've never encountered before with faster-than-light capability. The implications were enormous. The Xyloxians had always prided themselves on being the most technologically advanced civilization in the galaxy. Their scientists had long ago determined that faster-than-light travel was theoretically impossible. Yet here was proof that they were wrong. The ship has entered visual range without enhancement, Vela reported. They've matched our speed and are maintaining position at 10,000 units distance. On the view screen, the human ship grew. Larger, now they could see details of its construction, the name written in an alien script along its hull, the glow of its engines, the ports and hatches that dotted its surface. They're hailing us directly now, the communications specialist sighed. The computer has established basic translation parameters. Put it through, Commander Drelax ordered. The view screen changed to show the interior of the human ship. Standing in the center of their bridge was a creature unlike any the Xyloxians had seen before. It had pinkish-tan skin, no antennae, and a covering of dark hair on the top of its head. It wore a uniform of some kind, dark blue with insignia on the shoulders. Greetings, the creature said, its words translated by the computer with a slight delay. I am Captain Lavara Bennett of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We come in peace and friendship. Commander Drelax stepped forward. I am Commander Drelax of the Xyloxian scientific vessel Stellar Seeker. Your arrival is ... unexpected. The human smiled, showing white teeth. We've been exploring this sector for several weeks. When we detected your vessel, we decided to make contact. Your method of travel, Drelax said carefully. Our sensors indicate you were moving faster than light. Captain Bennett nodded. Yes, we use what we call the Carter-Wong drive. It allows us to create a localized fold in space-time. Vela's antennae twitched in excitement. The implications were staggering. She looked from her console to the screen, studying the human captain with intense curiosity. This moment would change everything the Xyloxians thought they knew about the universe and their place in it. The impossible had arrived, and Vela Catherine had been the first to detect it. Captain Lavara Bennett stood tall on the bridge of the Horizon, trying to hide her excitement. The view screen showed the alien vessel, much larger than the Horizon and with a strange, almost organic design that reminded her of sea creatures from Earth's oceans. Lavra was 38 years old, with short brown hair and eyes that crinkled at the corners when she smiled. She had been chosen to command humanity's first deep space mission because of her calm demeanor and quick thinking. Now facing the first alien species humans had ever encountered, she was glad for her years of training. "Status report," she said quietly to her crew. Navigation Officer Peter Daniels spoke first. "We're holding position at 10,000 kilometers. From the alien vessel, all systems normal." Peter was a young man with red hair and freckles. His hands moved constantly over his navigation controls, making small adjustments to keep the horizon steady. "Any signs of weapons activation?" Lavara asked. "Negative, Captain," replied Maya Patel, the ship's science officer. Maya was a brilliant scientist with dark skin and a serious expression. "Their ship has defensive capabilities, but nothing is powered up. They seem to be as surprised by us as we are by them," Ovar nodded. "Alan, how's the translation program?" "Working?" Communications specialist Alan Garcia adjusted his earpiece. "Better than expected, Captain?" "Their language structure is complex, but the AI is adapting quickly. We should have almost real-time translation soon." On the view screen, the blue-skinned alien commander was speaking to someone off-screen. Lavra waited patiently. First contact was a delicate situation, and rushing could lead to misunderstandings. "They're coming back online," Alan said. The alien commander faced the screen again. "Captain Bennett, we would like to learn more about your Carter Wong drive. Our scientists have long determined that faster-than-light travel is impossible." Lavra glanced at Chief Engineer Olivia Williams, who stood just off camera. Olivia was a tall woman with blonde hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. She nodded slightly, indicating it was okay to proceed. "The principles were discovered 5 years ago by 2 Earth scientists," Lavar explained. "It took another 3 years to build a working prototype. The Horizon is our first deep space vessel using the technology." "Fascinating," the alien commander said. "In all our centuries of space exploration, we never discovered such a possibility," Lavar smiled. "Sometimes a fresh perspective can lead to unexpected breakthroughs." The conversation continued for nearly an hour, with both sides sharing basic information about their species and civilizations. The aliens called themselves Xylixians, and their vast confederation spanned hundreds of star systems. Despite their advanced technology in many areas, they had never broken the light-speed barrier. When the communication ended, Lavra called her senior officers to the conference room. The small room had a round table with 6 chairs. A holographic display in the center could show star charts, ship schematics, or communication feeds. "Well, that was interesting," Lavra said as they all took their seats. "Thoughts?" Olivia spoke first. "They're fascinated by our drive technology. I could see it in their body language. Those little antenna things they have kept twitching whenever we mentioned it." "Are we in danger?" Peter asked. "They seem peaceful, but they're clearly more advanced than us in many ways." Maya shook her head. "I don't think so. They're scientists, like us. Their ship is designed for exploration, not warfare." "Still," Lavara said, "we should be cautious." "Alan, contact Earth Command. They'll want a full report on first contact." Alan nodded and left to send the message. It would take several hours for the faster-than-light communication to reach Earth, and several more for a response. "In the meantime," Lavra continued, "let's learn what we can about the Xylixians. Maya, analyze the data they shared with us. Peter, keep us at a safe distance but maintain visual contact. Olivia, I want a full report on what we can and cannot share about the drive technology." The next day, a message arrived from Earth Command. Admiral John Kelly's face appeared on the conference room screen. He was an older man with gray hair and a weathered face. "Captain Bennett, your discovery is remarkable," he said. "The Diplomatic Corps is preparing a full first contact protocol. But until they arrive, you are authorized to continue communication with the Xylixians. However, protect our technological secrets. The Carter Wong drive gives us an advantage." "We can't afford to lose," Lavra frowned slightly. She understood the caution, but didn't want to start an interspecies relationship with secrets and suspicion. After the call ended, Lavara returned to the bridge. "Alan, hail the Stellar Seeker." Commander Drelax appeared on screen. Captain Bennett, we were just about to contact you. Our High Council is very interested in further discussions. As are we, Lavar replied. We'd like to propose a cultural exchange. Perhaps a small delegation from each ship could visit the other. There was a pause as Drilax considered this. An interesting proposal. I will need to consult with my superiors, but I believe they will agree. 3 hours later, the Xyloxians sent their response. They agreed to the exchange and suggested it begin the next day. That evening, Lavra sat in her quarters reviewing files on the Xyloxian biology and culture that Maya had compiled. The aliens were oxygen breathers like humans, but their blood was copper-based rather than iron-based, giving it a greenish color. They lived longer than humans, with lifespans of about 200 Earth years. Their society valued scientific achievement above all else. A knock on her door interrupted her reading. It was Olivia. "Captain, I've been thinking about the drive technology," she said, entering the room. "If we share too much, we might put Earth at risk. But if we share nothing, we miss an opportunity for scientific exchange." Lavar nodded. "I've been thinking the same thing. What do you suggest?" "A middle path. We show them the basic principles, which they could probably figure out anyway from scanning our ship. But we keep the specific engineering details to ourselves." "That sounds reasonable," Lavra agreed. "We'll need to brief the crew before the Xyloxians arrive tomorrow." The next morning, the Horizon crew prepared for their visitors. They had converted one of the cargo bays into a reception area with chairs and tables arranged for the meeting. Food and drinks from both ships would be provided after tests confirmed they weren't toxic to either species. At the appointed time, a small shuttle departed from the Stellar Seeker and approached the horizon. Lavra and her senior officers waited in the docking bay as the airlock cycled open. 4 Xyloxians stepped through. Commander Drilax led the group, followed by 3 others, a science officer, a medical officer, and a young female navigator. "Welcome aboard the Horizon," Lavra said, stepping forward with a slight bow. "I'm Captain Lavra Bennett." Commander Drilax returned the bow. "Thank you for your hospitality, Captain." He gestured to his companions. "Allow me to introduce my team. This is Science Officer Trellis, Medical Officer Zorn, and Navigator Catherine." Lavra noticed that the young navigator, Catherine, was staring at everything with wide, curious eyes. Her antennae were fully extended, quivering slightly. "Navigator Catherine was the first to detect your ship," Drilax explained. "She has shown particular interest in your technology." Catherine looked embarrassed but stepped forward. "It is an honor to meet you, Captain Bennett. I have many questions about your faster-than-light drive." Lavra smiled at the young alien. "And we have many questions about your civilization. I think we have much to learn from each other." As they walked toward the reception area, Lavra thought about the incredible situation. Humans, newcomers to interstellar travel, had accidentally discovered something that the advanced Xyloxian civilization had missed. It was a promising beginning to humanity's first steps into the wider galaxy. Vela Catherine tried to control her excitement as she walked through the corridors of the human ship. Everything about the Horizon fascinated her. The design, the materials, even the smells were different from Xyloxian vessels. The humans had created artificial gravity using rotating sections rather than the gravity generators that Xyloxians had used for centuries. It was less advanced but clever in its simplicity. Captain Bennett led the tour with Commander Drilax, walking beside her. Science Officer Trellis and Medical Officer Zorn followed, taking readings with their devices. Vela stayed a few steps behind, absorbing every detail. "Your life support systems are quite efficient," Trellis commented, studying her scanner. "Though your air contains more oxygen than we prefer. We've adjusted the mixture in this section to be more comfortable for you," Lavra explained. Our medical officer provided the specifications. Vela noticed that the human crew they passed in the hallways tried not to stare at the Xyloxian visitors, but their curiosity was obvious. She understood the feeling. She couldn't stop staring at the humans either, with their strange, rounded ears and varied skin colors. They entered a large room filled with tables and chairs. Several humans were eating meals together. "This is our mess hall," LeVar said. "Would you like to sample some human food? Our science team has confirmed it's safe for your biology." The Xylixians exchanged glances. Commander Drelax nodded. "We would be honored." They sat at a table while the human chef prepared small samples of various foods. Vela cautiously tasted a sweet fruit called an apple and found it pleasant, though strange. After the meal, they continued the tour. Vela was most interested in the ship's engineering section, and she could tell Commander Drelax felt the same way. This was what they had come to see. When they finally reached the engine room, Chief Engineer Olivia Williams greeted them. The large chamber hummed with energy, dominated by a central column of swirling blue light. "This is the heart of our faster-than-light drive system," Olivia explained. "We call it the Carter-Wong drive, after its inventors." Vela stepped closer, her scanner recording everything. The design was elegant but surprisingly simple. The Xylixians had explored similar concepts centuries ago, but had abandoned them as unworkable. "The principle is based on creating a localized fold in space-time," Olivia continued. "Instead of trying to move the ship faster than light, we fold space in front of the ship and expand it behind us." Commander Drelax's antennae twitched in surprise. "But the energy requirements for such a process would be enormous," Olivia smiled. "That was the breakthrough. The Carter-Wong equation showed that by using a resonance field, we could amplify the effect while minimizing energy consumption." Vela's mind raced. The humans had approached the problem from a completely different angle than Xylixian scientists. Where Xylixian science had become increasingly complex, humans had found an elegant simplicity. After the tour, the Xylixians returned to their shuttle. Vela's head was buzzing with new ideas. She had recorded everything she could, but she knew that understanding the human technology would take time and deep analysis. Back aboard the Stellar Seeker, Commander Drelax called a meeting of the senior staff. They gathered in the ship's conference room, a circular chamber with walls that could display data or images. "Your observations?" Drelax asked. Science Officer Trellis spoke first. "Their technology is surprisingly advanced in some areas, particularly their propulsion system. In other areas, they are centuries behind us." "Their medical technology is primitive," Medical Officer Zorn added. "They still use surgical procedures we abandoned generations ago." Commander Drelax turned to Vela. "Navigator Catherine, you seem particularly interested in their drive system. Your thoughts?" Vela straightened in her seat. "Sir, I believe the humans have made a genuine breakthrough. Their approach to faster-than-light travel is different from anything our scientists considered." "Explain," Drelax ordered. Vela activated the room's display system, showing the data she had gathered. Xylixian research focused on overcoming the light speed barrier directly. "We tried to push through it with brute force, using more and more energy. The humans instead found a way to bend the rules." She displayed a simulation based on her readings. "They don't exceed light speed in normal space. Instead, they create a bubble of altered spacetime around their ship. Inside this bubble, they're still traveling below light speed, but the bubble itself moves through space faster than light." The other officers watched the simulation with intense interest. "Could we replicate this technology?" Drelax asked. "Possibly," Vela replied. "The basic principles are not beyond our science, but there are engineering challenges we would need to overcome." Commander Drelax was silent for a moment. "I will report this to the High Council. In the meantime, continue analyzing the data. This could change everything for our people." The next day, Vela sat alone in her quarters, reviewing the data again. And again, something didn't make sense. According to her calculations, the human drive should not work as well as it did. There was a missing piece to the puzzle. Her door chimed. "Enter," she called. Science Officer Trellis stepped into the room. "Still working, Navigator?" "Yes, sir. I'm trying to understand how they managed to stabilize the fold effect." Trellis sat across from her. "The High Council is very interested in your findings. They've ordered a full research team to study the human drive technology." Vela looked up in surprise. "Already?" Yes, some members of the council see great potential in this discovery. Others ... Trellis paused. Others see a threat. A threat? But the humans have been nothing but friendly. Trellis's antennae drooped slightly. Not all council members share that view. Some believe that any species with technology we don't possess represents a potential danger to the Confederation. Vela frowned. That's ridiculous. The humans are explorers, not conquerors, perhaps, Trellis said. But the military faction of the council is concerned. They've ordered additional ships to our location. Vela felt a cold sensation in her stomach. What are they planning? For now, just observation. But there is talk of acquiring the technology by any means necessary. You mean stealing it? Vela was shocked. That goes against everything the Confederation stands for. Trellis stood up. I should not have said so much. But I thought you should know. Your discovery may have larger consequences than you imagined. After Trellis left, Vela paced her quarters, troubled by what she had heard. The Xylixian Confederation had always prided itself on its ethical standards. The idea that they would consider taking the human technology by force was disturbing. She made a decision. The next day, when the human delegation visited the Stellar Seeker, she would find a way to speak privately with their engineer, Olivia Williams. Together, perhaps they could find a peaceful solution to share knowledge. Vela returned to her data analysis with renewed purpose. As she studied the human drive system more closely, she began to see connections to abandoned Xylixian theories. The humans hadn't invented something completely new. They had found a different path to a destination Xylixian scientists had given up on reaching. It was a humbling realization. Despite all their advanced technology, the Xylixians had become set in their ways of thinking. Sometimes it took an outsider's perspective to see new possibilities. Vela looked out her viewport at the distant human ship. She felt a strange connection to these beings from another world. They had expanded her understanding of what was possible, and now she needed to ensure that this first contact between their species remained peaceful and beneficial for both sides. The human delegation arrived on the Stellar Seeker early the next morning. Captain LeVar Burnett, Chief Engineer Olivia Williams, and Science Officer Maya Patel stepped through the airlock, their eyes wide with wonder at the alien vessel. The Xylixian ship was much larger than the horizon, with curved, organic-looking corridors and strange blue lighting that seemed to flow like water. Commander Drelax greeted them formally. Welcome aboard the Stellar Seeker. We are honored by your visit. The honor is ours, LeVar replied with a small bow. We're grateful for this opportunity. Vela stood nearby, watching the humans closely. She needed to find a way to speak privately with Olivia Williams, but it wouldn't be easy with Commander Drelax leading the tour. As they moved through the ship, the humans asked thoughtful questions about Xylixian technology. They seemed particularly impressed by the medical facilities, where injuries could be healed in minutes using cellular regeneration. This is amazing, Maya said, examining a medical scanner. On Earth, this kind of treatment would seem like magic. Medical Officer Zorn seemed pleased by their interest. Perhaps we could arrange an exchange of medical knowledge. Your species might benefit greatly from our techniques. LeVar nodded enthusiastically. We would welcome that. When they reached the science labs, Vela saw her opportunity. Commander Drelax was deep in conversation with Captain Bennett about Xylixian star mapping techniques, while Medical Officer Zorn was showing Maya some biological samples. Vela approached Olivia, who was examining a quantum physics display. Engineer Williams, may I show you something interesting in our propulsion lab? It's just down this corridor. Olivia glanced at Lava, who gave a small nod. I'd love to see it, Olivia said. Vela led her down a side corridor. Once they were alone, she spoke quietly. I need to tell you something important. Some members of our High Council see your faster-than-light technology as a threat. Olivia's expression grew. Serious? A threat? How? For centuries, the Xylixian Confederation has been the most advanced civilization in known space. Your technology challenges that position. The military faction is concerned. What are they planning? Vela looked around nervously. More ships are coming, warships. There is talk of acquiring your technology by force if necessary. Olivia frowned. That would be a mistake. Earth would not respond well to threats. I know, that's why I'm telling you this. Vela hesitated. I believe our peoples can benefit from peaceful exchange. War would be disastrous for both sides. What do you suggest we do? Before Vela could answer, they heard footsteps approaching. She quickly moved to a nearby console and pretended to be showing Olivia some technical data. Science Officer Trellis appeared in the doorway. There you are. Commander Drelax is looking for you both, Vela nodded. We were just examining the quantum field harmonizers. Engineer Williams has some interesting insights? Trellis looked suspicious but said nothing as they returned to the main group. The tour continued, but the mood had changed. Olivia whispered something to Lavara, whose expression remained calm, but her eyes now watched the Xyloxians more carefully. When the humans returned to their ship, Commander Drelax called Vela to his office. The small room contained only a desk, and 2 chairs with star charts displayed on the walls. Navigator Catherine, what did you discuss with Engineer Williams when you were alone? Vela kept her face neutral. I showed her our propulsion systems, sir. I thought she might have insights. That could help us understand their technology better. Drelax's antennae twitched in a way that showed he didn't fully believe her. Remember your duty to the Confederation, Navigator? These humans possess technology that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Yes, sir, I understand. Good, you are dismissed. Back in her quarters, Vela paced nervously. She believed in her duty to the Confederation, but she also believed in scientific cooperation and peace. The right path wasn't clear anymore. On the horizon, Lavra called. An emergency meeting with her senior staff. According to Olivia, we may have a problem, she said grimly. The Xyloxians might be planning to take our drive technology by force. Peter Daniels looked alarmed. Can we trust this information? It could be a trick. Olivia shook her head. I don't think so. Navigator Catherine seemed genuinely concerned, and I've noticed increased scanning activity directed at our engine systems. I've detected it too, Maya confirmed. They're gathering much more data than would be needed for scientific interest alone, Lavra frowned. Alan, contact Earth Command immediately. They need to know the situation has changed. Alan Garcia nodded and left to send the message. What? About our defenses, Peter asked. The Horizon has basic defensive capabilities, but we're no match for their technology, Lavra said. If they decide to take action, we can't stop them by force. So what do we do? Olivia asked. Lavra thought for a moment. We need to change their minds. Make them see that cooperation is better than conflict. The next day, long-range sensors on both ships detected new vessels approaching. 3 Xyloxian warships, sleek and heavily armed, dropped out of conventional space travel and took positions around the Stellar Seeker and the Horizon. On the bridge of the Stellar Seeker, Commander Drelax received a transmission from the lead warship. Commander Drelax, this is Admiral Vex of the Xyloxian Defense Force. By order of the High Council, we are here to secure the human vessel and its technology. Drelax looked troubled. Admiral, is this necessary? The humans have been cooperative. The Council has made its decision, Admiral Vex replied coldly. The technology must be secured for the Confederation. On the horizon, Lavara watched the Xyloxian warships with growing concern. Their sensors showed the powerful weapons the alien ships carried. They're hailing us, Alan reported. Put it through, Lavara ordered. Admiral Vex's stern face appeared on screen. Captain Bennett, I am Admiral Vex of the Xyloxian Defense Force. Your ship is now under the protection of the Xyloxian Confederation. You will lower your shields and prepare to be boarded. Lavra stood tall. Admiral Vex, we came in peace and friendship. We're willing to discuss technology exchange, but we will not be boarded against our will. You have no choice, the Admiral replied. Your ship is surrounded and outgunned. Comply or we will be forced to take action, Laura's mind raced. They couldn't fight and they couldn't run, but perhaps there was another way. Admiral, before you take any action, I request the opportunity to address the Xylixian High Council directly. What we offer could benefit both our peoples far more than conflict. Admiral Vex looked surprised by the request. That is ... unusual. So is first contact between our species, Lavara replied. Surely such a historic moment deserves careful consideration at the highest levels. The Admiral was silent for a moment. I will consult with the Council. Stand by. As the screen went dark, Lavara turned to her crew. Get ready. This may be our only chance to avoid a confrontation. On the Stellar Seeker, Vela watched the warships with growing dread. This was not how first contact should happen. The Confederation was making a terrible mistake. She made a decision. No matter what happened next, she would stand for what she believed was right, peaceful cooperation between species, even if it meant challenging the path her own people had chosen. 3 hours passed while the Horizon crew waited for the Xylixian High Council's decision. The 3 warships maintained their positions, weapons ready but not yet activated. On the bridge, Lava paced back and forth, trying to think of alternatives. If her request was denied... Captain, Alan called from his station. We're receiving a transmission from the Stellar Seeker. Put it through, Lava ordered. To her surprise, it was Vela Catherine who appeared on the screen, looking nervous but determined. Captain Bennett, Vela said quietly. I don't have much time. I've accessed the communication system without authorization. Go ahead, Navigator Catherine. The High Council has agreed to hear you, but only as a formality. They've already decided to take your ship. Admiral Vex has orders to board the Horizon as soon as the meeting ends. Lava frowned. Thank you for the warning. But why are you? Helping us? Because this is wrong, Vela replied simply. The Confederation was founded on principles of peace and scientific exchange. What they're doing now betrays those principles. The screen suddenly flickered as someone interrupted the transmission. Commander Drelax appeared, looking at Vela with surprise and disappointment. Navigator Catherine, what are you doing? He demanded. Vela stood straight. What I believe is right, Commander. The humans came in peace. They deserve better than this. Drelax was silent for a moment, then unexpectedly he nodded. Perhaps. You are right, he turned to face Lavra. Captain Bennett, I too have concerns about the Council's decision. This aggressive approach is not the Xylixian way. Lavra saw an opportunity. Then help us, Commander. There must be members of the Council who feel the same way. There are, he admitted. But the military faction is powerful, and they fear what your technology represents. Then we need to show them they have nothing to fear, Lavra said. I have a proposal, but I'll need both of you to help me present it to the Council. An hour later, Lavara stood before the Xylixian High Council. The meeting was being held virtually, with Lavra in the Stellar Seeker's communication center. The council members appeared as holographic figures seated in a semicircle, 12 Xylixians of various ages, their antennae showing different patterns. That Vela had explained indicated their social status and political faction. Captain Bennett, the eldest council member spoke, you have requested this audience. We will hear you. Lavra took a deep breath. Honorable members of the High Council, I come before you today not just as the captain of the Horizon, but as a representative of humanity. Our first contact with your people should be a historic moment of cooperation, not conflict. Your technology threatens the balance of power in the galaxy, a military officer on the council said sharply. We cannot allow that. With respect, Lavra replied, technology itself is neutral. It's how we choose to use it that matters. Humanity developed faster than light travel for exploration, not conquest. She activated a display showing star charts. There are countless worlds to discover, countless mysteries to solve. We can do this better together than apart. Lavra outlined her proposal, a formal technology exchange program. Earth would share the principles of the Carter-Wong Drive, while the Xylixians would share some of their medical and scientific advances. Both our civilizations would benefit, she explained. And more importantly, we would establish a foundation of trust and cooperation for the future. The council members discussed among themselves in their own language. Vela, standing nearby, whispered translations to Lavara. Some are in favor, she said quietly. Others still have concerns. Finally, the eldest council member spoke again. Your proposal has merit, Captain Bennett. But how can we trust that humanity will not use this alliance against us in the future? Commander Drelax stepped forward. If I may, counselors, I have observed the humans closely. They are explorers and scientists like us. Their technology may be different, but their values are similar to our own. Vela gathered her courage and spoke up as well. The humans developed faster than light travel because they approached the problem differently, not because they are more advanced. We can learn from their perspective, just as they can learn from ours. The military officer looked unconvinced. And if they share this technology with others? The galaxy could descend into chaos. Then we face that challenge together, Lavar replied, as allies, not enemies. The council withdrew to make their decision. Lavara, Vela, and Commander Drelax waited tensely. Whatever happens, Lavara said to Vela, thank you for your help. You took a great risk. Vela's antennae twitched in what Lavara had learned was the Xyloxian equivalent of a smile. Sometimes we must take risks for what we believe is right. When the council returned, the elder spoke. We have reached a decision. The Xyloxian Confederation will accept your proposal for a technology exchange program with certain conditions. Lavra felt relief wash over her. Thank you, counselors. Humanity looks forward to working with you. As the details were worked out, Admiral Vex reluctantly ordered his warships to stand down. The Horizon crew celebrated the peaceful resolution, while on the Stellar Seeker, Commander Drelax commended Vela for her courage. Your actions today may have changed the course of our history, he told her. The Council has appointed you as the official liaison for the Technology Exchange Program. Vela was stunned. Me? But I'm just a navigator. You are the one who first detected the human ship, Drelax reminded her. And you understood before any of us the importance of cooperation over conflict. You are the right choice. 2 weeks. Later, preparations were complete. A joint research team had been formed, with scientists from both ships working together. The Horizon would continue its mission of exploration, now accompanied by the Stellar Seeker. On the observation deck of the Horizon, Vela stood beside Lavar, watching as both ships prepared for departure. The human vessel would use its faster-than-light drive, while the Xyloxian ship would follow using its conventional propulsion until the new technology could be implemented. It's strange, Vela said. When I first detected your ship, I thought I had found something impossible. Now I realize that nothing is truly impossible, we just haven't found the right way to look at the problem yet. Lavra nodded. That's the beauty of science, and of meeting new civilizations. We all see the universe a little differently, and by sharing those perspectives, we all learn and grow. Where will we go first? Vela asked. Lavra smiled. There's a star system about 10 light years from here that neither of our peoples has explored yet. Seems like a good place to begin our journey together. As the ships moved into position, Vela felt a sense of excitement and wonder. Her detection of something impossible had opened up new possibilities for both civilizations. The galaxy, it seemed, was full of impossibilities waiting to be discovered, and now they would face them together. The Horizon activated its Carter-Wong drive, creating a fold in space-time. The Stellar Seeker followed in its wake, the two ships from different worlds embarking on a shared journey of discovery. And Vela Catherine, the alien girl who had detected something impossible, knew that this was just the beginning.